Now, you might be wondering, 50 plus books, really? Yup, we've done the heavy lifting so you don't have to. In this video, we'll reveal 10 mind-blowing money secrets that will change the way you think about finance. This money secret will turn your financial game upside down. 1. Create your own luck. Creating your own luck is something I've come to believe in more and more over time when it comes to achieving financial success in life. Often, what people call luck is actually the result of taking a lot of actions. The key here is that the more actions you take, the better your chances of getting lucky. People who take action tend to get luckier because they're essentially creating their own luck. This lesson encouraged me to try out many things and be okay with most of them not working out. I realized that it's normal to be wrong most of the time and still find success. For instance, Thomas Edison's invention of the electric light bulb took thousands of experiments. This means he had a lot of misses, but those hits made him hugely successful. Even legendary investor Warren Buffett understood that out of hundreds of companies he owns, he gets significant gains from just 10. So the point is, it's okay for many things to not work out as planned. Sometimes all you need is that one brilliant idea, one book, one sentence, one person, or one video to change your life. People on the outside might think you just got lucky, but what they don't see is that you probably reached out to over 50 people or tried many different things before finding that one success. In essence, you created your own luck. This, to me, is the ultimate lesson. 2. Don't live below your means. This advice comes from a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Second Chance. Kiyosaki criticizes the traditional advice of financial planners who emphasize saving money by sacrificing things you enjoy. Kiyosaki suggests a different approach. He asks, why not figure out how to make more money so that you can afford the things you want? According to him, cutting costs can be demotivating. Nobody wakes up excited in the morning and says, I'm going to cut costs here and there so that I have a few extra dollars. Always focus on earning more, and instead of saying, I can't afford it, start saying, how I can afford it. This advice made sense to me when I was young for 2 reasons. First, I realized that there's a limit to how much you can cut your expenses. You can't keep cutting forever. Second, I understood that my most valuable assets are my time and energy. I can spend my energy trying to save a little money, or I can use that energy to make a lot more money. The path to making more money starts with solving small personal problems, like gaining financial knowledge or building self-confidence. As you tackle these, you move on to bigger, more complex problems. Every time you solve a problem, you level up and new challenges come your way. The more money problems you solve, the smarter you become and the more money you make. On the flip side, if you ignore money problems and just focus on cutting expenses, you'll likely end up with less money over time. 3. Understand money rules before aiming to win. Many people hesitate to understand the rules of money because they believe money is complex. If you feel that way, don't blame yourself. There's a reason behind this confusion. You see, there's a lot of money stuff happening on Wall Street and in the financial world. They've intentionally made it seem super complicated and confusing. Think about it this way. Who benefits the most when you feel like you can't take control of your financial future? It's folks like stockbrokers, financial advisors, and banks. Banks happily take your money and give you a tiny interest rate, while they use your money to buy safe investments, like government bonds that give them higher interest. They make more money with your money without taking much risk. Sounds unfair, right? But it's not. They're just playing by the rules, and you can too, if you understand those rules better. Now, here's the key point. Understanding money isn't actually complicated. It's made to seem that way by those who benefit from your lack of knowledge. So, take a moment to let that sink in. Feel frustrated if you want, but then decide to change the game by committing to learning how money really works, so that you too can play the game to your advantage. 4. Think big. Thinking big is about setting ambitious goals that inspire and push you beyond your comfort zone. Think of people like Elon Musk, who wants to settle on Mars with SpaceX, or Steve Jobs, who changed the world with Apple's inventions. These folks show us how having big dreams can be powerful. Small thinkers only see what's right in front of them, while big thinkers see the possibilities that extend far beyond the current moment. Take, for instance, the look of an old house. A small thinker might appraise it at a mere $20,000, but a big thinker sees the untapped potential. envisioning a thorough renovation, interior upgrades, and a resale value of $80,000. The majority of people are reluctant to embrace expansive thinking, thus constraining their aspirations. But thinking big is just the beginning. It's like setting your GPS destination. Let's say you make $3,000 a month and you set a big goal to make $20,000. This goal will change how you behave. You'll read different books, watch different videos, and maybe say no to some things. Thinking big leads to doing big things, and that's how you achieve big results. Some people think the other way around. They say, give me $20,000 a month, and then I'll act like someone who makes that much. But it doesn't work that way. You have to become the person who earns $20,000 a month first. Only then will you start to see those big results. And you can't do this if you don't let yourself dream big. Many of us believe our jobs support our lives, but in reality, our jobs become our entire lives. We spend more than 35 to 40 years working and thinking about work, and the reason we work is to earn money. Thinking big is challenging when working for someone who's using you to achieve their goals. To truly think big, you may need to break away from such situations. 5. What's the worst that can happen? This valuable lesson is not from a finance book, but from a book on personal development, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. The lesson is simple yet powerful. When faced with financial concerns, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? This approach has proven highly beneficial in my own experiences with investing and business. Think about it. Many of our worries are tied to money. What if a business idea fails? What if an investment leads to a total loss? What if borrowed money becomes difficult to repay? These kinds of thoughts can make you really stressed. The key is to confront these concerns by asking, what's the worst that can happen? When you ask this question, it helps you calm down. Carnegie suggests that often, the bad things we imagine in our heads aren't as terrible as we think they are. In fact, they're usually manageable. Even if the worst thing actually happens, you can usually deal with it. Why does this work? Well, worrying has a detrimental effect on our ability to concentrate. Our minds become scattered, jumping from one concern to another. Acceptance, however, acts as a calming force, allowing us to focus on resolving the problem at hand. This simple yet profound approach helps us tackle challenges with a clear mind and a steady resolve. 6. Money is a game. Money is like a game we all have to play, whether we like it or not. Growing up, my family didn't really talk much about money. It wasn't a taboo subject, but it just didn't come up in our everyday conversations. I've noticed that in our society, we tend to admire people who have a lot of money, but at the same time, we also criticize the process of making money. There's this idea that money is the root of all evil, and people who care about money are seen as selfish and greedy. These conflicting views make it awkward for many of us to talk about money openly. However, here's an interesting finding. Those who are successful at making money see it as neither good nor bad. They understand that money is just a game. In reality, we all have to participate in this game because we need money to survive. The only choice we have is how we're going to play. People who grew up like I did sometimes choose a losing strategy. They might ignore the importance of money or complain that the game is rigged, using it as an excuse not to try. I'm not claiming that we all start with the same opportunities. Life isn't that fair. Some are dealt tough hands from the beginning, while others seem to get lucky breaks. Yet, what we can control is how well we play the cards we're given. Your success in the money game depends on how well you understand the rules and how effectively you execute your strategy. It's not about having an equal start, it's about making the best of what you have and playing smartly. That's the key to navigating the game of money. 7. The sunk cost fallacy. Imagine an individual named John who has been working in a well-paying but highly stressful and unsatisfying job for the past 5 years. He's also noticed that the company's values and culture do not align with his personal values and goals. But he continues to stay at the same job. He might think, I can't leave now. I've put too much time and effort into this job. Now, think about situations in your life where you're doing something you don't like. Maybe you're pursuing a career your parents wanted for you, like being a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. You're halfway through, and you realize it's not what you want. Still, you keep going. Or maybe you're stuck in a job you hate like John, or you're in a relationship that you know won't work out, yet you persist. The sunk cost fallacy is a trick our minds play. It's when we give too much importance to what we've already invested, be it time, effort, or money, and ignore what we might lose in the future. Instead of looking ahead, we get stuck in the past. This happens not just in a career or job, but in all aspects of our lives. Most people, when faced with this situation, do exactly what John did. They ignore the fact that changing his job is the right thing to do. This behavior is because of something called the sunk cost fallacy. By succumbing to the sunk cost fallacy, John may sacrifice his well-being and long-term career happiness. You should ask yourself, knowing what I know now, would I continue this job, business, or relationship? If the answer is no, it's time to change course. It's tough, but we should consciously try to ignore and focus on the future. It might hurt to give up on the work and time you've put in, but in the long run, it's always worth it. 8. Get rich young. When I started reading books about managing money and investing, I often came across the same advice. If you save a small amount of money and invest it for a long time, like 40 years, you can end up with over $1 million. This advice makes sense, but it left me with mixed feelings. On one hand, I got excited about the idea of having $1 million someday. But on the other hand, I thought about the fact that I'd be old by then. Did I really want to be wealthy when I'm old and might need help moving around or enjoying life? I wanted nice things, like a fancy car, but I didn't want to be too old to enjoy them. Then, I stumbled upon a book called The Millionaire Fast Lane by M.J. DeMarco, and it completely changed my perspective. This book is all about becoming rich and retiring early by doing things like starting a successful business, inventing something, or creating things that can bring in a lot of money while you're still young. Now, when we hear "get rich quick," it often sounds like a scam. But the author isn't talking about getting rich overnight. For instance, if you start a business, you might work hard on it for 5 or 10 years, but once it takes off, you may never have to work again in your life. That's what the author means by "get rich quick." And if you compare it to investing for 40 years, 10 years is pretty quick. Achieving financial prosperity at a young age opens up a world of opportunities, choices, and the ability to live life on one's own terms. So if you dream of retiring early and never working again, definitely check out this book. But if you're happy with your job and the idea of long-term investing, stick with it. Just remember, compound interest works its magic over time. Warren Buffett, a famous investor, got most of his wealth after the age of 50. His skill is investing, but his secret is time. He's been doing it since he was a kid. 9. Spending, saving, and investing it. You can only do 3 things with money. You can spend it, save it, or you invest it. Most people lose when it comes to money because they either spend too much, save too much, or invest it in the wrong things. Spending too much and making bad investments are pretty obvious money mistakes, but saving too much can also be a problem. Here's why saving too much can be an issue. Over time, things tend to get more expensive, which means the buying power of your money decreases. So the dollar you have today won't be worth as much in 10 years. Saving money is kind of like spending it because you're losing some of its value to inflation. In reality, you can only do 2 things with your money: spend it or invest it. Now, looking at money this way makes it clear which path is better for winning the money game. You can't become wealthy just by spending money. There are lots of strategies for building wealth, but there's no one-size-fits-all answer. For example, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk all became rich in different ways. So, if someone tells you that their way is the only way to get rich, take it with a grain of salt. What worked for them might not work for you because your life, skills, resources, and goals are different. So, remember, there's no single path to financial success, and some paths will be easier for some people than others. Don't compare yourself too much to others and beat yourself up if their strategies aren't working for you. Instead, focus on finding what works best for your unique situation and goals as you work towards building your wealth. 10. Buy assets. The first few finance books I read were Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The most important lesson that stuck with me was the difference between an asset and a liability. Rich Dad described assets as anything that puts money in your pocket. These can include investments, rental properties, stocks, bonds, and even intellectual property or a successful business. In essence, assets are things that generate income or appreciate in value over time. On the other hand, liabilities are expenses or items that take money out of your pocket. This includes mortgages, car loans, credit card debt, and other financial obligations that require regular payments. Rich Dad said that getting rich is easy. You only need to do one thing: buy more assets. To buy more assets wisely, individuals should prioritize financial education and discipline. This lesson is extremely simple, but hard to apply in real life. After reading the book, I became conscious of every single purchase I was making and focused on buying more assets, which significantly improved my financial situation. I hope you love this video as much as I love making it. Thank you for watching. If you find this video useful, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content. Have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you in the next video.